Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I am your host, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me for this interesting episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is the one and only, that retro code, Eddie V.
I get to be laid back, kicking it, enjoying the ride. Yes. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I'm hosting today. It was really, I'm glad that you're here because this would have been a really lonely podcast to do by myself today.
And you already had that experience this week.
Yeah, but yeah, so I guess the reason why I'm hosting, well, A, Ed wasn't supposed to be here, but B, Ed and I have been talking a lot. We've been talking a lot about, the things that we kind of want to do with Boss Rush and kind of moving forward what we're doing and maybe changing it up a little bit and kind of going, just changing some things up, as we say. But Ed, how are you doing? How are you on this fine Saturday afternoon?
I am doing great. I actually just realized that there's some plans changing in the near future for some things. But yeah, I got to play some great games and actually paid attention to Edith Finch, like really dove into it. And I'll probably talk about that later, but I've been really good. I'm excited because I get to cook my first teriyaki pulled pork. This is my first time using the slow cooker. I've never used one, so this is gonna be my first time doing it. I got the ingredients. I'm gonna make the sauce tonight, and I'm gonna still slow cook it tonight and everything. And then tomorrow morning I will get it ready. I have my Hawaiian rolls, and I'm excited for that. So it's gonna be a good time. And then crunching on this video games for next month. I gotta start the podcast recording process. So I have a particular guest, but I gotta get some more people, and it's going to be fun. But I've been really good. I've been having fun this week, and everything. And just excited for new stuff that's happening.
Yeah, there's some exciting things and some changes to old shows and new things happening. I've been trying to figure out how to have, I guess you would say I'm trying to be more efficient with our time and getting more people involved and, just trying to do more with, you know what I mean? Like we've talked about kind of shortening up the console shows and trying to really tighten them up and buckle them up. And, people have been asking for the PlayStation show, which we've talked about extensively, you and I, at least off air and in chat, and kind of what we want to do with that. And, we kind of want to see if we can bring standard definition back and expansion pack and stuff like that. So it's been a busy week of thinking for me, honestly. But also I've just kind of this week, I we did Power Block on Thursday, but we're moving Power Block to Mondays to accommodate some things for Tower Casuals on Thursdays now, with Josh. And it's been a week. We do a lot, and I think kind of maybe the last couple weeks it's really hitting me that we do a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it just, in trying to find the time and trying to be awake for most of that, and it's been a interesting time to try to find time to do more stuff or less stuff or get more people involved in other stuff. It's just been a really long thought process for me, but I think I've finally settled on some things, and we've settled on some things where we could make it work and have other people involved in doing other things. So you and I are going to have a editing class, I guess, soon.
Yes.
So but yeah, I mean, this week has been good for the most part. I've been playing games the way I feel like I want to play them instead of trying to rush through some things. And and that's kind of where I'm at. So, but yeah, I also if people don't watch Nintendo Power Block, I got my Shovel Knight amiibo here, my
Yay.
3-pack of Spectre Knight, Plague Knight, and King Knight. I'm very excited to open these, and if you're watching the video version, I'm very excited for this area in particular. This where all the sticky tack is. So I'm very excited for that to change as well. I just changing things is fun for me. I think that is very apparent for people who've been following us for a long time. Try to change some things and then change it back and then change it. I'm very I have to change things sometimes just to get it better. So, but yeah, sorry, that was kind of a rant, but it happens.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Ed, we have a lot to talk about today.
So much.
Yeah, so I'm going to do this housekeeping real quick, and then we will get to our kind of conversations for the day. This is Boss Rush Podcast, where each and every week we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them. You can join us live on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 Pacific, on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Games Live, and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, it's no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/BossRushGames or BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your podcast service of choice on Mondays. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, review, and share wherever you consume us. It helps with discoverability. And check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also go to BossRushGames.com/subscribe, and you can find the links out to all those places as well. Ed?
Yes.
And before we start with these topics, I want to talk to you about what we've been playing. I'm going to come up with a name for this. I thought of something really cool, but then I realized on the last episode of the Game Informer show they took it. So,
the playlist, the gaming playlist.
Yeah, so we can't use that. So,
well, I had the gaming get down, but I guess.
Yeah,
but I'm not hosting. So,
sorry, Ed. Sorry. Do you want to keep calling it the gaming get down?
Yeah.
Ed, what games have you been getting down to?
Yes. So I mentioned Edith Finch because me, Celeste, a special guest, Billie Holiday, we're going to be having a discussion about that. And I was getting some more achievements from it because this is my second playthrough of it. And I kind of was just realizing, I'm just like, a lot of these stories, what they deal with, and I was just like, okay, there are some moments where the gameplay could be better, but I understand what the story is telling, and there was things that clicked in my mind to be like, oh, okay. And I'm surprised that I think because I played it before, that it took me only 3 hours. Like, I played it literally straight and everything for it. And I was just like, oh, wow, this game really is short, Even like when I was playing Go Home, it was short and stuff. So after that, pretty much I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario Origami King. I think I'm close to the end of the second chapter of Ghost of Tsushima, so I should be doing the third, and then I'll be done with the game to write the review. But and then I'll be jumping into Paper Mario, the Origami King and stuff. And it's funny that you mentioned Game Informer because they was talking about like what is on their Game of the Year list. And right now, I think you probably have about 3 games. Probably, I don't know if that's true. I already have like 3 games, but I might just go ahead and like add 4 of them because I really think Paper Mario right now is in the lead-in for that. Ghost of Tsushima, Murder by Numbers, Ori and the Will of the Wisp is number 4, and I haven't decided on what my 5th one would be yet. And I think I'm waiting for the rest of the games to come out this year to make that 5th. But it's been a kind of a big strong year. I've been thinking of for Xbox jumping back and starting up. I was supposed to be doing Dead Space, but I really need to do Dead Rising 3. So I'm thinking of jumping back into that game. Um, and soon I also would do Rhyme. Rhyme shouldn't take me too long to do. But I'm thinking of going back and do Dead Rising 3 because I've played uh Dead Rising on one. I think I owned it on Wii. But I never got a chance to finish it. I have Dead Rising 2 on PS3, but I never touched it. It just stayed in a box. So with Dead Rising 3, I want to play that game, get it done, and do Dead Rising 4. And I wonder if those games are on. I don't think they're backwards compatible on Xbox One, but if they are and they're on part of the sale, I may just like buy both of them. Dead Rising 1 and 2 because I kind of want to see what these games were about. I remember they were a big thing when they actually came out um, for it. But that's pretty much what I've been like playing and stuff. Um, and I got to see if Kid Nick Eye is on Xbox One so I could buy it and then be able to stream it. Cause I just been having a kick. And I actually put out the Twitter to .mu, be like, what would you guys do if you had Data East games to remake or reimagine it? Because I want to see another Kid Nick Eye or I want to see Karnov come back. Like Data East, man, they just because I think one of their new games dropped on their arcade archives. And I'm just like, man, I really want to see what people could do with some of the arcade games that never got that came to console, but the original version is the arcade, and they never got remade or anything. So I want to see. Then I guess I'll be buying Battletoads soon, also. But yeah, pretty much that's what I've been getting down to.
Nice. Nice. For me, it's been a week of just comfortability games, very like just playing games, like comfort food games. Obviously, Destiny is a big one. I've been trying to get the Solstice of Heroes event is going on, and I'm really trying to make my way through that. It's going to be a grind, but hopefully I'll be able to at least get some of the stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to get all of it just because scheduling and the amount of people it'll take to get it, but I want to try. So I've been playing a lot of that with my friend Mitch and, trying to grind out some of these exotic quests that are going away in November. And there's some weapons that I would really like to have. So that's where I'm at there. I've been playing some Crosscode. I don't really know if I have anything else really new to say about that game, except that if you haven't played it yet, what's wrong with you? You should be playing it. It's on Game Pass. It's on PlayStation. It's on Xbox. It's on PC. It's on Switch. It's pretty much everywhere that you play games. So you should be playing some Crosscode. That's all I'm saying. You should be playing Crosscode. Ed, are you playing Crosscode?
When I get done with Paper Mario, I will be playing more Crosscode. I started it, but I haven't like really got into the game.
It's a game of the year contender, Ed. I'm telling you.
Oh, I believe you. I literally believe you.
It's very good. So I've been playing Crosscode. I've been playing Okami for Ed. I'm still making my way through that. It's gotten easier for me to control. I just just getting used to the controls more and everything, so it's not as painful as it was when I went back to it after that, a couple weeks ago. But playing through it, I'm enjoying it more and more. I turned off one of the filters, the art filters, and the game looks much better. It looks much cleaner. So, but I'm really liking it. And I know this is a PS2 game, but I think one of the things I wish they would have done with the art style, and I know it's just like very Japanese with the thick black lines, but I wish they were like a little bit thinner so that it would bring out the color in some of the rest of the game,
Yeah.
because I feel like the art style is great except for the thick black lines that really outline everything, and it just kind of distracts from the color of everything else. But making my way through that. But the game I really fell back into and played about 10 hours of it this week was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I'm
Yes.
trying. So the story in that game is actually only about 40 hours, and I'm about 27 hours into the game, and I know I'm nowhere near the end because I was messaging you a little bit last night, and there. First of all, there's this weird infestation of flies that got in our house, and by infestation I mean like two or three of them. And I was like, every time I would kill one more would pop back up. I'm like, what is this? Where did you come from? And so, yeah, I was killing flies, and I decided to play some Assassin's Creed, and I played for 4 hours last night, I want to say.
Uh-huh.
And you messaged me about 3 hours in, and I was like, I'm playing Assassin's Creed. You're like, yes. You're like, are you making progress? I said, no.
No.
And like, I'm gonna lie, I played for 4 hours last night. I didn't make any progress, zero progress, because I was just running around, clearing off sections of the map, doing some like collecting all the treasures, fighting mercenaries, and I mean that's technically progress towards achievements and stuff, but it's not story progression. So I probably fought like 10 mercenaries last night, though. I was very proud of myself.
Nice.
So they're really hard, man. They're like, some of them are like really aggressive. Some of them have big animals that attack you and stuff. So you have to fight the animal first, and it's just what a game, man. That I'm thinking about all the games I've played this generation, and it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think might be my favorite game of the generation.
Really?
I've been thinking really hard about it, and I'm like, I love Horizon, I love God of War, I love Destiny 2. I love these games, but I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and this is kind of excluding Breath of the Wild because that's kind of like in a gray area, you know. I don't really know where the Switch sits in terms of generational stuff, but
I I was thinking about. Oh, go ahead. I'm
oh,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, just because the Wii U exists in some kind of weird interstitial way, you know,
Hmm.
and I don't know, man. I like Breath of the Wild is such an amazing game, and I love that game. I still think about that game constantly, as everybody knows, and it's definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite game of all time. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey is close.
It's so weird because I would say for me it is Breath of the Wild being the game of the generation, um, which is surprising because like I think personally for me if Breath of the Wild if never happened this year or never happened this generation or you, you count Wii and Switch the same, um, if you want to.
I mean, I
If
kind of
it,
do because all the Wii U games have pretty much made it over at this point. I,
yeah,
I mean, what are the games I have my Wii U hooked up for now? What, Xenoblade
mm,
and the two Zelda HD games? Like, that's it, maybe.
it's it would have been a big battle for me. So it would have been Titanfall 2 versus The Last Guardian versus Horizon Zero Dawn versus Yoshi. Well, I can't really say Yoshi's Crafted World because that was for Switch. And so that is for um I want to say that it's for this generation, but I still feel like no, this is part of the next gen systems in a sense where it's going to be Switch, PS5, Xbox One. So that's what I'm thinking of with generation. When I'm thinking of a PS4 and Xbox One, I would consider Wii U part of that. And since Breath of the Wild is part of it, that's why I make that connection. But I'm like, it would have been a battle between those three, and I think I literally would have just pulled out. Well, Forza Horizon, 4, and Just Chasing Beats. But if I had to pull one out of those 5 games, it would have been the last Guardian. Like I cannot stress enough where I feel like the Last Guardian is something that not only Sony needed, but that gamers needed in general. Where it was just like, this is what happens when a game normally tells the story without really having dialogue, and it's one of those games that yes, you are going to have some problems and deal with some things, but the AI is acting like a real pet. And there are times that in real life, you as a human dealing with a pet who don't always follow your commands and stuff, you gotta do a lot of stuff to get them to do it. But I'm just like, when it works, it's just like this is very heartwarming, and it really shows that Trico needs the guy and vice versa. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm ever going to get a game like this. I don't care. Probably, a lot of people will say, well, a Brother of Two Tails and A Way Out and all of that. I'm like, those games from that person, I guess. But you know, I feel like The Last Guardian is strong enough where it's just like, what happened to the Sony fan base who was, champion God of War for its narrative? And you guys got another game that really drives the narrative and really brings you in and really connects to you emotionally, and you guys are not saying nothing about it. And I just feel like, man, The Last Guardian just stands out to me as like one of the greatest games of this generation. And
I just feel like there's a lot. Like, I mean, I just feel, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just feel like I just feel like there's a lot of like this is. I've been thinking about this a lot recently because there's a lot of games that I don't really care for that a lot of people, quote unquote, love, or you know what I mean. And there's a lot of revisionist history on a lot of games. There's a lot of bandwagon jumping for games, and I just like. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I think there's a lot of bandwagon jumping, just to be part of the conversation. And like, do you really love these games or not? Like, I'm not afraid to say that I don't care about The Last of Us at all. And for some reason, like I've never met anybody else who doesn't like The Last of Us. I mean, like I know there's people out there, and like I know you and I talk about it a lot, but like
right.
I don't like. And BioShock is another game that I just don't care for. I just don't. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the game. I just, when I say stuff like that, sometimes people on the internet are like, "Oh my gosh, you're a crazy human being."
But see, that's the same way when I think about the Grand Theft Auto series. I don't care for the GTA series
Yeah, I don't either.
It's not doing nothing, and people get blown away when I be like, "Well, this is kind of the worst game that I played because it has all of these problems." I have my reasons why I give it. I could respect the game that people love and I don't like or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some people don't get that. It's just that it's sometimes games are not our cup of tea. And it doesn't mean that it's the game's fault or the creator's fault. It's just that it's something that's not in our wheelhouse that we just don't enjoy and stuff. And even though we give it a fair shake and give it a fair try, and even to complete it, sometimes we're just like, it just didn't do nothing for me. And sometimes you have different expectations and tastes in a game. The problem that I have with The Last of Us, I don't think it's a bad game. I don't like that intro, and I don't like. And with the intro, I'm like, I don't like the logical stuff that is not, the illogical stuff that is happening. The same way that I speak on Uncharted 2. I don't think Uncharted 2 is a bad game, but there are illogical things that's in that game. I said 3 and 4. I feel like 3 and 4 is way better, and Lost Legacy is a phenomenal game.
Yeah, I feel like Lost Legacy is actually the best Uncharted game. And
pretty much, yeah.
And like from a gameplay perspective, like I think I still like Uncharted 2. Like if we're talking just straight up Uncharted, like I still think Uncharted 2 is probably my favorite out of the, like, story wise, I would say. Mm-hmm. Like I just think that the characters are at their best. I think that it's just, I like Uncharted 2 a lot. But like Uncharted 4 was way too long. It got way too serious. You could tell Amy Hennig was gone. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't feel like an Uncharted game. And like with the writing and stuff, you could tell it was the Last of Us team writing that game. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but like that's just what it felt like. It didn't have the fun kind of, to me, Uncharted's supposed to feel like Indiana Jones, right? Where it's fun, it's quippy, it's about the character. It's not about, hitting emotional notes or anything, right? And
Right.
I didn't like Uncharted 4 like really at all. I think I finished it because I like that series, but I still think Uncharted 2 and 3 kind of sit. And Lost Legacy was actually like awesome, amazing. So
Yeah, like graphically and gameplay wise, Lost Legacy is beautiful. It's like this is top notch. Like nothing could touch it. Sleeping Dogs to me is probably one of the best crime story kind of open world games because it had a story that I cared for and the characters that I like. Like I love listening to the music and driving in that game and doing the missions and stuff. Like I love this and it felt balanced. And I just don't get that out of the Grand Theft Auto games, where I feel like I understand what you guys are going for, but you still have wonky mechanics and not enough good development to fix those. I feel like Red Dead Redemption 2 is a better game, but
mhm.
I really feel like I just out of Rockstar, I always keep saying that Max Payne 3 is the best out of it because of the story, because of the graphics, because of the music.
Because
Of
Ed has a
course,
crush on Max Payne.
I have a crush on Max Payne when he's bald headed, but I was in for a great ride with that game. Like this is what a cinematic movie video game feels, and I wouldn't change anything about it. It had a level of balance for me. But yeah, when I was hearing that on Game Informer, just like some people's game of the generation, I just feel like Breath of the Wild did so much, and it continued that whole year. That everybody kept bringing up Breath of the Wild and taking elements from it, even though those elements been in other games. Somehow Nintendo took it in and just made it where you want it, where you want to see it, and stuff. And it was just like it's a game that I still get lost in. And yes, I know I still got need to beat it, but I'm just like this is the generation. This is the one that, regardless, month by month, week by week, day by day, someone is mentioning Breath of the Wild. For some unknown reason, that game is getting mentioned. And if it's not getting mentioned, you would literally be surprised.
Yeah. Well, it's. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Ed? What are you gonna do?
Shoot, I'm gonna have to catch up to you playing Odyssey because I feel like I'm gonna get lost in that game. Be like,
I
Corey, did
just,
you beat
I mean,
need to be Origins?
I mean, yeah, I mean, talking about Assassin's Creed Odyssey again. Like, I don't know. It's just the way you can move around that world, the way it lets you just climb anything like Breath of the Wild. It's basically Breath of the Wild on steroids, pretty much.
Right.
Without the shrines, right? Like, I mean, there's no dungeons or shrines, but the world is so big and you can go anywhere and do whatever you want. Like, you can find yourself on top of this mountain, right, and jump off the cliff. And once you upgrade your character enough, you can literally jump off the top of the cliff and just land and be like, okay, I got down fast. That was fun. And to me, that's just super fun. And clearing out all the check marks and finding all of the blue kind of, there's like these special elements that you can find, and finding there's hundreds of them. They're probably the equivalent of Korok seeds in this game.
Wow.
And I've been going around, like, every time I get to a new island, the first thing I do is clear out the blue, like the special elements, and then I go and clear out all of the question marks, like the areas, and then I'll do the side missions, and then I'll do the story missions, and then I'll move ahead, right? Like that's how I play the game. And last night I was on this one island, and for 4 hours I just cleared out the island and did side missions. And then this morning for a little bit I did the 2 story missions in the game, and then I just turned it off because I was like, okay, I did what I needed to do. I'm on the boat ready to go to the next story mission.
That's kind of how Ghost is for me. Ghost of Tsushima, doing all the side stuff and question marks things, and then once I get everything cleared off, then I'll get into the story mission.
Yeah. So I can't say enough good things about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's just it's a wonderful game.
It is.
It's just I don't it and like even to the point of Origins, where like I actually popped Origins back in the other day because
Hmm.
I did this a couple months ago when I started playing Odyssey again, and I'm like I kind of want to clean up some of the achievements in Origins and do some of the DLC stuff, and like even moving from Origins to Odyssey, which kind of has me a little worried about Valhalla, like I feel like Origins controls even though the controls are exactly the same, right? I just feel
Yeah.
like Bayek is a little bit heavier. He's a little bit tankier. He doesn't move as fast. You can't climb anything you want and jump off a cliff and die, because that was the first thing I did. I was like, oh, I need to get down there. I'm just going to jump off this cliff, and I jumped off and I died because I was like, oh wait, that was a feature they added in Odyssey. And so like I will probably go back to that after Odyssey and Valhalla just to clean up achievements, because I'm just I want to 100% this new series, and it's so fun and so good that
And the crazy thing, true, Corey, the crazy thing is that I own it now on one. Like
mhm.
I went back and bought it, even though I own it on PlayStation 4. I'm just like, this game is so good that I got most of the whole. I think the only one that I don't have is I think it's Assassin's Creed One on Xbox. I
Mhm.
think that's the only one I don't have. But I got most of the whole series on my one because I want to go through most of them. I want to go through them.
Yeah, I have the entire series on Xbox now. Like I have all the even the side scrolling ones, even the
Hmm.
like I have the Ezio collection now instead of just one, two Brotherhood and Revelations as Xbox backwards compatibility games, because I do want to go back and I kind of want to go through the whole series again and just do it, and see what I missed. And like I didn't play Unity or Syndicate at all. I played a little bit of Syndicate,
Me
but
neither.
I was so kind of, I wouldn't say burnt out, but I was just kind of like trying to play other things, and I think Destiny was kind of just be coming into its own at that time and that kind of thing. So I kind of fell off after Black Flag, to be honest. I never played Rogue, so which is where you play from the Templars perspective, which is really interesting. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where I've been at for that. But what else have I been playing? Was playing something else the other day too, and I kind of forget already. So I guess I won't be talking about it because I forget. It must not have been that fun or important. So, anyways, Ed,
Yes.
I have some interesting topics this episode. I'm gonna
All right.
throw this out to you. So, one of the biggest news stories this past week since we recorded last was Halo Infinite got delayed. And we were kind of having this discussion in the group chat and, kind of individually. Like, Halo Infinite was supposed to be the Xbox Series X's big launch title. It was supposed to be their Breath of the Wild, right? Where,
Hmm.
yeah, you can play it on Xbox One, but you can play the better version on the Series X and everything. And here's what you get: 120 frames a second multiplayer, that kind of thing. I think it kind of shocked the world that Halo was delayed and the box was not. So, what are your kind of thoughts? Because we haven't really
So
talked about it together.
So that's been my thing is that one of the questions is should they delay it to 21? And my thing was because I'm in the chat that you mentioned that I was telling you guys that I feel like if they did delay it, it's going to be like the Nintendo Switch thing where there's a hit title every month because they could lead up to that. That you got Halo, you got Hellblade, you got uh State of Decay 3. You got even Fable. Like you have a way if those other games are not delayed. If you could do it like Nintendo, like when Switch came out in 2017, you started out with Breath of the Wild. Then you went to Mario Kart. Then you went to Arms. Then you went to I believe Splatoon 2, and then like you Super Mario Odyssey was in September, but I think Fire Emblem Warriors came out in August. Oh no, that came in October, somewhere around there. But they had a first party game that was hitting the Switch every month. And so if you felt like that you weren't getting you didn't have a must have, Nintendo was giving you some must haves, with Arms being the new IP. So it was just like I could see this happening to Microsoft because now, your marketing has already fallen apart. And I was telling Jesse about this is that you're marketing your stuff about the technical stuff that your system can do, but you don't have no games now to really showcase that in a sense. And Halo Infinite was supposed to be your premier game to showcase what the system is going to do. Not saying that it will fully do it, because I think once again, and it happens to every console, after a year time has gone on a console, it really stuff really starts to shine and look bright. Now that Halo Infinite is delayed to next year, would it be smart to delay your system to March? Yes, I feel like they should delay it. Let PlayStation get that lead with the stuff that they got, because in all honesty, and this may just be me, um now I could wait for Series X, because I don't know if those games are still coming to one, I could just get a one, and when I get to Series X, depending on how the upgrade thing is going to be, I'm not really missing out on anything. Or I feel like PlayStation 5, just because of their first conference or what they show, there's some must-haves, and I have more must-haves on the PlayStation 5 than I have on the Xbox One. I mean, Series X. Now, if I want to be an early adopter, I'll get a
Well,
Series X.
do you though? I mean, is there more PlayStation 5 exclusives right now than Series
It's
X?
not. It's not so much the exclusives. It's so much as what I want to play. The
Yeah, but I
must-haves,
mean,
and
I'm
this
saying at launch though. I
at
mean,
at launch. Um, Depending on
because
uh
to me, it feels like the Series X still has more to play at launch, right? Like, I mean,
mhm,
yeah, Sony has Spider-Man, but I mean, and we don't know the launch lineups, of course. So I mean, we'll know
right.
them, sooner than later. But like,
And that's why I was thinking that Ratchet and Clank was the lead, because they kind of started. I mean, the Spider-Man one was kind of confusing at that time, and so looking at Ratchet and Clank, it looked like it was almost ready to go, and I didn't know if they had given it a date yet.
yeah, I want to hold on. I'm trying to look up some launch games for PlayStation 5 and Xbox, like exclusives. So, um,
Yeah, it's some of the indie games that was on there. If they're not pushed to 2021 or anything, if they launch on PlayStation 5, that's enough to get me on the system and everything. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to get a Series X or anything, but Halo Infinite was the game that was going to get me a Series X. Excuse me, because I liked what they was offering. I liked this open world, and I was going, and it was just like I want to see their take of open world, because it kind of worked for Gears 5, so I want to see if it works for the Halo series. I just don't know now, because the thing of one of the things about it was just like, what else as gamers were we talking about with Series X for when the game system releases? Of course, yes, smart delivery. We already know that. We already know about Game Pass. None of that stuff counts for the release of Series X. What is dedicated straight for Series X that we are all talking about? Because we can't really talk about Halo Infinite because it's delayed. So what is there else to talk about? We don't know much about Hellblade 2, because that's not they didn't show us anything besides that trailer. So
and
we
I don't
won't
think
know.
that's coming till at least late
So,
next year because of
right,
it's on an engine that's not technically out to the public yet, right? Like, I'm sure
right,
Microsoft made a deal, said, "Hey, we'll use your engine," and maybe they got a deal on how much they pay, royalties and stuff because Microsoft will sell games, but like,
right.
they're I mean, a lot of their first party studios are using Unreal 5 for next gen games, right? Like
And
I'm sure Gear 6 cuz they run on Unreal. Gear 6 will run on Unreal 5. Hellblade in Exile's next game. I'm sure Fable is running on some sort of altered version. You know what I mean? Like I feel
right.
like
And
so
oh, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Because I feel like Nintendo only use. I think they only use Unreal. I think only for Breath of the Wild. I think everything else I don't know if they've been using Unreal for a lot of their other games anything. I think they have their own engines, uh, but I'll have to go through each game. I think PlayStation 5, they since Guerrilla Games got their own engine, they really could share that technology with everybody. 343's engine, the what is it, Smile?
A slip
Uh,
space.
oh, Slip Space. I keep thinking of Smile. I don't know why. If Slip Space could really be the engine for Microsoft and everybody could use it, there won't be the need for Unreal Engine 5. But if Unreal Engine 5 is making it easier for developers to make games and stuff, then yes, shell out that money for the license so they could use your engine. But if you want to save money, then if you guys got an in-house engine that everybody can learn from and use, do that. Do that for a cost cutting of efficiency if needed.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of PlayStation 5 launch games confirmed either, right?
Mhm.
The only games that are confirmed for launch day as of right now is Astro's Playroom, which is preloaded on every PlayStation 5, and Fortnite are the launch games for PlayStation 5. But I mean, of course, they haven't confirmed anything as of this recording. I'm
Mhm.
sure Doom Eternal's getting a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X for upgrade. Control, GTA 5, GTA Online. Obviously, their online stuff is going to be free for everyone who gets a PlayStation 5.
Mhm.
Beyond Light for Destiny, Warframe, so like stuff like that. But they
Like a
don't
lot of
have
the
any.
third party stuff.
They have timed exclusives with Deathloop and Tokyo, Ghostwire Tokyo, which
Mhm.
I don't know if those are. I know Deathloop is supposed to be at launch, but Ghostwire Tokyo probably isn't. So I just PlayStation doesn't have as much as like Xbox either. They don't have a lot of exclusives. Spider-Man is really the only thing, and it's an quote unquote expansion to the
This-
PS4 Spider-Man, which I think a lot of people are pointing that there's going to be some sort of upgraded version of the PlayStation 4 version of
Mhm.
Spider-Man that comes with Miles Morales for PlayStation 5, but I mean, people are complaining that Gears Tactics isn't a Xbox Series X game. It's already out. Flight Sim is coming, and a lot of they're kind of focusing on a lot of these Xbox One games getting optimized for Series X. But it's like
But that's fair because
PlayStation.
Nintendo does that.
I know,
You know,
and PlayStation is doing that with Spider-Man, except you get Miles Morales, which is what they said, like a 7 to 10 hour experience. So like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't understand why people are criticizing the Series X when PlayStation 5 is clearly going through the same thing.
I think they're criticized, and I think the criticism is, from my point of view, is coming from you didn't show us anything because you kept marketing what the system can do. You're not marketing us
But
what the
PlayStation didn't show us anything either.
PlayStation didn't show it. I think people
Every single game
went
I wanted to play on PlayStation 5 was a cinematic
with
trailer.
yes, and I agree. There was some game there's some that had some gameplay that made it look interesting or gave you an idea to be like, oh, I can't wait to really play this game. But Sony didn't. Sony hasn't. Sony's been kept their mouth closed. They literally kept their mouth closed. They didn't say anything. They didn't. They haven't been trying to market PS5. The stuff that came about PS5 leaked. That's the only way that we know stuff about it because it leaked. But Sony didn't hasn't been saying nothing. Mark Sweeney,
Cerny.
who's Cerny, when he spoke about it, everybody was disappointed to that. But I'm like, this is a GDC presentation. He's not talk. He said they already told you that they're not speaking about PlayStation 5. He's speaking about different things, and you have to be a game developer to understand what he's talking about. After that thing, Sony still kept their mouth shut. They wasn't trying to market 4K. They wasn't trying to market first person shooter, frames per second. They weren't trying to market anything about PlayStation 5. They were just like, we're gonna put this show out. Let our games speak for themselves, and we're gonna go back to the dark and shut up. Microsoft's the ones that's been talking, and they've been talking about tech and not games. So when you talk about your tech and your games are not matching up your tech, that's why everybody's mad. Microsoft should have been looking at Stadia, and yes, I don't want to go to Stadia, but Stadia did the same thing, talking about its tech and not its games. And then when this tech dropped, when the Stadia came out and this tech is still not up to use, everybody felt disappointed. Everybody's talking about, or not, I don't want to say making a mockery of it, but people are upset that your tech marketing is not living up to what you so-called said, because people are taking you at your word when it comes to it. And if Microsoft is going to do this, Nintendo didn't do it. Nintendo was just like, this is what our Switch is about. These are some of the games, and this is what you could do and everything. And whether they still use it or not is up to Nintendo and the people who make games for it. But they weren't focused on tech. They were just focusing on the idea and innovation on how everybody could game. So when your stuff is not matching up to the tech that you are showing, people are going to feel disappointed, and they're going to feel like you don't got the games to match it up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's where I feel like that's where the anger comes from.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know. I know it comes down to games and stuff, but like, there hasn't really. The consoles don't launch with great games, anyways. Like, there's been rare exceptions, like Super Nintendo, Super Mario World, N64, Mario 64, Switch with Breath of the Wild. But like, what did the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 launch with? What did the Xbox One and PlayStation 4? You're telling me that Knack and Killzone are your killer apps to own the PlayStation 4? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be like a jerk about it, but like,
dude, I agree with you. PlayStation 4, Xbox One had a horrible launch, and then all you got was ports for almost 6 months.
I would argue that the first killer app to own for either of these, either the Xbox One or PS4, was Titanfall, the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, I would seriously argue that point.
To me, buying the Xbox One was because you were getting a Rise of Tomb Raider, or you was getting Ori the Blind Forest or Gears of War Ultimate. That is the only reason to like really get a Xbox One for me personally. It didn't everything else comes along. Mm-hmm. Getting a PlayStation 4, you was getting a PlayStation 4 because it was a Sony product.
I bought a PlayStation 4 because all my friends were waiting for Destiny, and they all wanted a PlayStation 4. That's why I bought a PlayStation 4. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I don't even know if I would have had a PlayStation 4 until God of War came out.
Probably the same thing. Only reason I got a PlayStation 4 because it was on sale. It was the Battlefield one, and because it was holiday and I had the money to get it. And I'm a podcaster, and I talk about video games. That is the only reason why I got a PlayStation 4.
I mean, outside of all this, like, I don't even know if I would have gotten an Xbox One until Gears 4 or Halo came out. Like,
and that's why I said I didn't get my Xbox One to Rise of the Tomb Raider until I seen Ori the Blind Forest. That was the only reason. And then because my system was a 1 terabyte, like 5 games in one, because it had Gears Ultimate. It had actually about 35 games. It had the Rare Replay, the Gears Ultimate Collection, where you also got 2 and 3, and Judgment, and then it had Ori and the Blind Forest. And I only paid $400 for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only reason why I got it. And it was just like, this is an insane amount of games that I'm getting for this price with the system. But I'm also attached to Rise of the Tomb Raider because on how great Tomb Raider was. I'm not playing Fallout because I didn't like Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess what we're really trying to say is we don't really care that Halo got delayed. I think like, just going back to the delay real quick, I think it's good for the game, right? Like, I think it needed it. I think based off what not only just us, but what everybody saw and what everybody was kind of talking about. This is like, as a big of a bummer as it is that we can't play Halo this fall. Like, for me, I have enough to play. right? Like
Yes.
I'm going to be playing Assassin's Creed, Destiny, and Gears Tactics this fall on Xbox
Yes.
Series X. Like those are the games I'm going to play. Those are the games I want to play. And then
And
Halo and what's it rumored Cyberpunk delay, that can be spring or late next year or whatever. But in terms of Halo,
I'm I'm with you with that. I want a Series X when it comes out because yes, I want to play Valhalla. I want to be ready for the next gen games and stuff to talk about. Um,
yeah. So
like yeah, I'm looking forward to what they have, and I feel like with 343 Studios, they're too top tier of a company to let gamers down. Halo 5, I love Halo 5. I don't care what anybody say about it. The story is whatever the story is, but yet the gunplay, the CGI, like the story and stuff, as confused as it is, it's still a beautiful game, and I want 343 Studios to be ready to deliver a top tier product. And if they need to delay it, delay it. Nintendo did it with Breath of the Wild, and Anuma even came out and did a video to say that they were delaying the game because they wanted to make that game better. And look what happened with it.
yeah. So I mean, in terms of Halo, like this is probably like a last chance effort for Halo to become relevant again. I feel like
Hmm.
in a lot of people's eyes, I don't know if I really feel that way, but I get it. You know, like Halo 5 was kind of a bummer. The Master Chief Collection didn't really launch well. People don't like Halo 4 for some dumb reason. I think Halo 4 is the best Halo. I'm going to throw that out there, and somebody can fight me on that. But I think in order to make Halo has to be done right. It has to launch with all the features. It has to launch as the Xbox Series X powerhouse. And I saw a lot of articles going around that said maybe they should cancel the Xbox One version, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. Right? Like I understand like this is what you had your vision being, like cross-platform, non console generation things, right? But like Halo's got to look its best. It's got to have ray tracing in it day one. It's got to have your 120 frames a second promised multiplayer day one. It's got to look its best. It's got to play its best, and the story has to hit. You know, and
It
this
it has
is
to it has to deliver Microsoft's marketing. It
yeah.
has to.
It has.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say maybe we look back on Halo Infinite 5 years from now, and it doesn't look as great as a lot of these Series X or PlayStation 5 games that are out by then, right? I get it. That's how all launch games are. But when Halo Infinite launches, it has to hit on all of Microsoft's marketing beats for the Xbox Series X, the most
Hmm.
powerful console, ray tracing, high frame rates. All of these things have to hit with Halo. Plus, you have to deliver a fantastic Halo game. Does it have to be the best
Yes.
Halo game? No, but it has to be the best Halo game that 343 has made.
It has to be so memorable that people consistently talk about it. And not talking about it in a bad way, but keep talking about it. Be like, that was a really fun ride. That was like one of the way that we talk about Gears 5 in the story, how we constantly talk about how good that game is. It needs that talk because the thing about it is, once Halo Infinite drops, you better believe Digital Foundry is going to be on it.
And the way that Gears has kind of risen through the ranks of Xbox exclusives, like,
Hmm.
yeah, Halo is the storied franchise, but I feel like, in all honesty, I feel like out of all of Microsoft's exclusives, Gears is Microsoft's best exclusive franchise right now
It,
in terms of the public eye. I mean, like you can say what you want about Ori and Forza and some of these other games,
it,
like Quantum Break had its issues, but it was really good. Sunset Overdrive, whatever.
yeah.
I feel like when people view Xbox, I feel like they look at Gears and like this is the best that Xbox has to offer.
I agree. I literally agree. And you mentioned Forza. I'm like, Forza Horizon 4 falls right under Gears. And that might be a personal thing, but literally, if you put in Forza Horizon 4 and you just stand around, just drive around, you'd be like, good
I mean,
night. This game is gorgeous.
I don't even care about racing games, and Forza Horizon is still on my Xbox One. I mean, I think that has a lot to say. I think the only racing game I really like is Mario Kart. You know what I mean? And Forza Horizon's still on my Xbox, so that should tell you a lot. So I'm gonna run. I know we're gonna move on. We spent a lot of time on this
Yes.
talk. I don't really care that we spent time on this topic, but I'm going to run through just the way that the Xbox Series X launch kind of looks right now before their August event, if they have one or not. So, yes, some of these are optimized for Series X games, whatever, but this is the way the launch kind of looks right now. Gears Tactics console version. Yes, it came out on PC earlier this year, but it's not on console yet, which I'm sure it's going to look amazing on Series X. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, Control Ultimate Edition, The Medium, Scorn, The Ascent, Dirt 5, which promises 120 frames a second racing on Series X, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Destiny Beyond Light, along with thousands of backwards compatible games and more optimized for Series X, like Gears 5. I can't wait to play Gears 5 optimized for this thing.
Yes.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps optimized, Forza Horizon 4 optimized, which is going to look amazing, Madden 21, and more. So there's a lot to kind of look forward to. You know, I don't need a ton of launch games. I just need 2 or 3 decent ones. And right now, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Gears Tactics, and Destiny 2 Beyond Light are the games that are going to sell this box for me, because I want to play the. First of all, I like Gears Tactics on PC, but I can't. The whole PC gaming thing is just not for me, right? It's just not. So I can't wait to play it on the mouse, on the controller.
I would give, if I get a Series X, the Medium is definitely a instant download. Like, I want that game. Like, as creepy as it is, it tricked me into thinking it was an Alan Wake, the Alan Wake expansion. It wasn't, but it was just like, I would get this because it feels different, and I like this. Oh, all the other games that you mentioned, of course, of course, why not get that?
Yeah, and also the other game in there, which we'll kind of get to later, but Cyberpunk is probably going to be a Series X launch title as of right now. Of course, they're might be reworking some stuff in that game and it's causing concern for delay, but I guess the next gen console version, major upgrades are coming next year, but it'll still have some optimization for Series X when it comes out, right? So Cyberpunk is also on that list. So
delay that game. Just delay it.
I mean,
just
for
come
me,
out and delay it.
For me, Cyberpunk is like, I want to play through Assassin's Creed first. You know, I can only handle like one huge game at a time, and I can barely do that. So Cyberpunk can take as long as it needs to.
And I just lost interest in it. I was hyped with Jesse along getting the game, but it's just like, I'll get it when I feel like getting it now.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really that hyped for it anyway, and I know that's kind of like, you know, whatever. But I just
it was more of a, I'll give this game a try, but now it's just like, there's nothing exciting about that game anymore to me, and I'll just get it when it's ready.
I mean, it looks cool, right? But the sheer size of the game is pretty intimidating to me, to be honest with you. But Ed, we're gonna kind of get away from this Xbox talk. We want to, as everybody knows, we love to talk about Nintendo, right?
Yes.
And we have a Nintendo show that if you're not listening to, you should give it a try. A little show called Nintendo Power Block, where Ed and I and Celeste all talk about Nintendo stuff. But as of this week, Ed, a new summer image of Mario spurs speculation of Super Mario Sunshine and the 30th Anniversary Collection, where Nintendo posted a thing, a little picture of Mario sitting on a beach with some cocktails and some some summer wares. So, do you think we should have any speculation on this, or you think it's just a fun thing that Nintendo put out?
Just a fun thing that Nintendo put out. Because if they were going to do anything, they were reimagine Super Mario Sunshine with the Super Mario Odyssey engine, because they have a beach level, so they could do that and rework the whole game. If Nintendo really wanted to do that, I just thought it was a cool pick that they did. You know, because they kind of did the same thing with Yoshi's I think Woody World or Crafted World, where it's just like, yes, we are marketing a game, but this is just something cool that we want to put out and that you guys can enjoy. So I think they're doing kind of that same thing, just like we're just putting this out for you guys to make a desktop or ad or just have some fun with it. I think Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Japan, which is like, in Europe, was just like, let's just do something for the gamers while we are in this quarantine time, and lift up the gamers and lift up um people's spirits and stuff by just showing something nice and fun, just to bring a smile to them. So I just think Nintendo just do something out for fun with it and everything. Because if Nintendo's gonna go out with Mario in a direct or the best way they can, and just throwing the picture out like that, that's not their kind of thing. A lot of people get on Nintendo because they just doing the trailer for game announcements, but I'm just like, I'm fine with that. you know, I hey, just show me a trailer. Oh, I see some gameplay. Cool, that's a game I'm gonna get. So I think it's just something for them to do fun.
Yeah. So I mean I would love to speculate a 35th anniversary thing as much as the next person. I think
Hmm.
they've probably delayed it a little bit into next year. I want to say that next year we're going to get 3 anniversary collection style things with this. I feel like I know we kind of talked about it a little bit on Pow Block this week, but after we had that discussion, I thought about it a little bit more.
Hmm.
Just think about this: if this was the lineup next year, and I know Metroid's way out because they just posted a huge job posting, which makes me think that game's not coming out. I thought 2022, but this makes me think 2023, 20, maybe even in 2024. But
Well, for Metro Prime 4.
yeah, they're looking for a lead game producer, which makes me like, oh boy, what are they doing over there? So, but anyways, just think about it this way: like next year, January hits, boom, Super Mario 3D World Deluxe, right?
Hmm.
Bam. Sometime next year, Metroid Prime Trilogy Collection, Twilight Princess HD, Wind Waker HD, Mario 35th Anniversary Collections 1 and 2. I would put Sunshine and Mario 64 together in one package and Galaxy 1 and 2 in another package. Boom, boom. Bayonetta 3 next year. Boom. Ending the year with Breath of the Wild
2.
2. No, don't tell me no. Don't say you don't see that happening. I
I
just
see
want
everything. I
I
see
just want you.
everything.
I just want you to
I
look.
see
Shh,
everything.
Ed,
I see
listen,
every.
listen. Let's pretend that that's actually happening next year. I
My
don't.
soul is already falling out of the bed. Corey. I'm trying to tell you.
I mean, if Switch is gonna compete with these next gen consoles, that's a lineup,
Yes.
a 2021 lineup, man. That
Yes.
is a.
As my soul lays on the bed because it's already passed out because I can't pass out with it. The only thing I have to say is when Breath of the Wild. Do we do a normal October? Because I think that's where a lot of some of the Zelda games, or do we do it in November? Like
I think it
when
depends on if they have a Pokemon game next year.
okay, because if you
Because I
end
could.
it with oh
Oh, go ahead.
no. If you end up with Breath of the Wild and it's once again perfect 10s across the board, or even 9.5s, if it kills, Nintendo probably would have another one of the best years in gaming. Like it's going to be insane.
I feel like Breath of the Wild 2 would be there. I would say if it. I think there's going to be a Pokemon Let's Go Silver next year at some point.
Hmm.
We didn't get it this year. I think because of the expansions for Sword and Shield. We got the expansions this year. We got Pokemon Snap this year. We got Pokemon the dungeon game earlier this year. I think next year is a prime setup for Gold and Silver Let's Go games. And I feel like you have Let's Go in November. You have Zelda in October. And then you have like the rest of these. I feel like you have to get. I feel like, well, first of all, I feel like next holiday you put. Let's see. I feel like September you put the man, I don't even know now. I don't even know how you would line that up. You have to get if you're putting Breath of the Wild out in November next year or October next year, you have to get the two HD games out early that year.
Yes.
You have to get Wind
Yes.
Waker and Twilight Princess out in like February, March ish.
Dude, if
Or what you do, you put Twilight Princess out in January, Mario 3D World out in February, Wind Waker in March.
switch Twilight and Wind Waker because you
Well, I
get that
feel
you with
like
your Twilight. The only reason why I'm saying is get that Wolf Amiibo back
well,
in stock and connect that as a box for Switch.
well, the other thing I think too is like, well, I wonder if the Wolf Link amiibo will work in Breath of the Wild too. I really hope it does because I use that thing an awful lot. Uh,
Yeah, and that's why. Yeah,
but
and I think that's the only reason why I would switch Wind
well,
Waker and
my
Twilight just to get the Amiibo.
my only thing is like on paper or if you're paying attention to the internet for some reason, I feel like Twilight Princess is less popular than
Hmm.
Wind Waker, and the only reason why I say that is like you put Twilight Princess in January is because less games come out in January, and I feel like Wind
Yes.
Waker would have a better chance of competing in the when games just flood the market in March. I feel like Wind Waker would have a better chance to compete, although it doesn't matter when you put games out on Switch anymore. They just sell like 6 billion copies anyway, you know?
Well, yeah, cause see, I'm thinking of if Halo Infinite drops in March. Assumption is Wind Waker strong enough to compete with it? I think so. It could compete or
Look, if
complement. I
Animal
should say.
Crossing is strong enough to compete with Doom Eternal, Wind Waker is strong enough to compete with Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's all
Yeah.
I'm going to say.
Yeah. And that's why I
And
switched it to.
and Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And
And
that's why I said it could compete with it or complement it. So whatever way that you take it, because dude, Halo Infinite and Wind Waker HD release date.
yeah, I know.
So we if they planned it where they both dropped on the same day, that's craziness. That's for people who got Game Pass. That's a straight up blessing right there. Or if you don't got Game Pass and you go and buy it digitally or physically, and you get in the Series X, and still get Wind Waker HD, pay that
yeah.
130 plus some dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Well,
I'm
let's
just
let's
for that.
let's talk about the major games that came out around the time that Animal Crossing came out this year, right? Are you ready?
Mhm.
Call of Duty Warzone free to play, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Neo 2, let's see here. Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx. I'm trying to think see the within like a 6-week period here. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered. I don't really know if that's huge or not. Persona 5 Royal was huge. Final Fantasy 7 remake was
Yes.
huge. Resident Evil 3 was pretty big. Let's see. There was one other one. So, I mean, but for just kind of looking at those huge games, really, honestly, and Animal Crossing outside almost all of them combined,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Wind Waker can handle Halo Infinite. No offense to Halo Infinite, right?
None whatsoever.
I just feel like Switch is killing it. Switch is on this massive roll to where Wind Waker could totally compete in March.
It's a win-win situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's without a shadow of a doubt, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think like, okay, next year, Twilight Princess, Mario 3D World, maybe Metroid Prime. I wouldn't put Metroid Prime Trilogy out against Halo Infinite. I wouldn't want two first-person shooters to be at the same time.
It doesn't need it.
Yeah.
For first-person shooters, let Halo.
I would
take
actually
that.
put Metroid out in the summer, to be honest. Somewhere in the summer, like June, July-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, let's see, Wind Waker in March, April-ish. You would have maybe you put Bayonetta in the spring, and then September, like August, September, you do the other Mario 35th anniversary stuff, and then October would be Breath of the Wild 2, and November would be Pokemon. December could also be a possibility for Bayonetta 3, although I think people are getting kind of restless about that game. So,
Yeah.
but
Would you want to add the factor of Ratchet and Clank in Horizon Zero Dawn 2?
I mean,
Or do you
Horizon.
think Horizon?
I think Horizon is next October easily to battle Breath of the Wild 2, but we already saw that fight once, and
Mhm.
they both sold well. I think people will buy them both. I think
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about Switch is like anything you buy on Switch is super complementary to the games that you buy on the quote unquote HD consoles, right? Like I think
Yes.
it doesn't matter. I think if you're going to buy two games, you're going to buy a game A on Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, and then you're going to buy a game on Switch. I just think that's how people have trained their brain now.
Cause, dude, just think, and because this is a now we're into the fall/winter. This is going to be crazy if this ever happens. It's a four game. It's a four game, not battle, but a four game buy. Hellblade 2, Fable, Horizon 2,
I don't think
and
Hellblade
Breath
or
of the Wild
Fable are
2.
coming out next year.
If that was happening,
Oh, if it was happening, yeah. But for me, like Fable and Hellblade are coming out on Game Pass, and I am a Game Pass subscriber. So for me,
well,
and
yeah,
what
but
10 or 12 million other people, I think that's just an easy kind of okay. Well,
it's
I have Game Pass, so I don't have to worry about buying those games. Here are the other games that I want to buy.
but it's in your library.
Yeah,
I'm just saying those four games dropping that you got these four experiences that's going to take up a lot of your time.
for
That's
really probably looking open world games because I feel like Hellblade is going to be an open world game. I really feel like Hellblade. I feel like with Microsoft's budget and the way that like if you follow Ninja Theory and Melina on Instagram and Twitter and whatever, like and watch their kind of diaries and whatever, like it feels like that this game has a way bigger budget than the last one, and I feel like that they're gonna especially the way that like Melina Juergens is training for this. Like she posts training videos on her Instagram every day about this game, and like just the things that she's doing for mocap that are different than the last. I feel like Hellblade 2 is going to be an open world semi-action RPG game. Similar, maybe not a 60, 70 hour one, but at least like a 20 or 30 hour one. And I would be okay with that because I think Ed, you're muted. Ed is muted, everybody. A little bit of technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. I heard something. Ed's fixing his microphone. I'm narrating this. Ed, look out behind you. Nope, he didn't buy it. He didn't bite it. Nope, he's still silent. He's still fixing his microphone. He's talking into his microphone. He's peeling something on his microphone. Now he's rapping silently. I can't tell. He's doing something now. I don't know what he's doing. He's ruffling under the covers. Maybe he's looking for a snack. I can't tell.
Hello.
I hear him now. He's a little bit quieter, but I hear him.
Hello.
Hi, Ed.
Hi. Oh, the volume kind of went down.
Yeah, your volume's down a little bit, but I was just narrating to the people what you were doing on your side of the screen.
I was hearing you. I was
There it is.
hearing
There it is. You sound perfect. Don't move.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't really think the Switch has a lot to worry about. I know people are worried about third-party support for the Switch, but at this point, they've been super quiet on Doom Eternal. There's rumors of a Pro Switch model coming out next year to compete and have those third-party games. I don't know, man. I think people are still buying Nintendo for Nintendo games, and I think that Nintendo has a lot of games. So, plus through COVID, right, like we've already talked about on Palblock, they have a lot that they could port over to kind of fill space if they need more time on some of these other games.
Yes.
So
I agree.
like, I don't know, Xenoblade Chronicles X or like we said, 2 Zelda games already. They could even go back to the Wii and port some of the older Wii games, upscale them a little bit, you know?
Mhm.
I don't think people would have a problem with that. Or release some games that are already done that they're holding on to, like Star Fox Grand Prix, maybe, that was leaked and never came out. Just Star Fox Zero they could port. They have a lot, man. So
Yes.
do what my kid does. This is her new thing. She just shrugs and goes like this with her hands, like so. But yeah, I think the Mario 35th anniversary stuff is coming, but I do not think that this is a tease for that. So we'll see. But I would totally play a Mario 64 in the Odyssey engine. I'm just gonna throw
Yes.
that out there.
I I would run it on my house and pre-order that right now.
Yeah. We're going to run through these next stories real quick, Ed, because there are questions that I want to get to, and that we haven't really read questions in a while. I've been kind of storing them for a rainy day, and now that we've kind of done the show stuff, like I really want to get to the questions. So, whoa, excuse me. Ubisoft has been updating Rainbow Six Siege for a long time now, right? I think they're in year 5 or 6 at this point.
Yeah.
And they're teasing a new operator. I don't know, little operator from little series that they own. Sam Fisher is officially coming to Rainbow Six Siege as an operator. I feel like Ubisoft is teasing a return of Sam Fisher in a Splinter Cell game. Probably next year. I would say they will announce it next year, but he's been in both Ghost Recon games at this point. He's been in, now he's coming to Rainbow Six Siege. He's in that mobile game that Ubisoft put out. I really feel like Ubisoft is going to bring Splinter Cell back at some point in a big way. Now, this is not the Michael Ironside Sam Fisher. This is the actor who played him in Blacklist, playing him in this game, which is understandable, especially if they're making a new Splinter Cell game. They're using Michael Ironside's voice for that. So
Yes.
I don't know. I thought the trailer was pretty neat. I'm not a Rainbow Six Siege fan. I know Jesse is. I want to get his take on this, but how do you feel about Sam Fisher coming to Rainbow Six Siege?
It's okay, and we can move on.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like if you have this big Tom Clancy universe, and they're basically making a competitive G.I. Joe game at this point. With how crazy everything is getting, right? Like that's what it feels like. By the way, did you see they're making a G.I. Joe game?
No, I didn't. Who was developing it?
I don't know. Someone I've never heard of, and I'm sure it's going to be really bad, but it's coming to Switch, so I'm going to play it.
I heard that that Fast and Furious game is okay.
Yeah, that I heard it's really bad actually. But to be honest about that Fast and Furious game, it's by the people who did Project Cars. And the Fast and Furious game feels like a contract you take on so you can pour that money into the project you are passionate about. Similar to what?
Oh, so they gearboxed it.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for, I don't think the manager of Project Cars is a raging buffoon. But, yeah, man.
Can we call that practice a gearboxed?
No, because I feel like you're
Or
insinuating. I feel like you're insinuating that they are, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that go with when you mention Gearbox. I feel like the first thing you think of besides Borderlands is Randy Pitchford, and that's somebody that I don't really, unless they deserve it, I don't want to associate anybody with that.
Well,
person.
then can we call it? I'm calling it a Pitchford.
No, because I wouldn't call it that. No, I feel like this is more of like a Platinum situation where Platinum did the Transformers game and the Ninja Turtles game to kind of fund the projects that they really wanted to do. I align it more with that because, like, I feel like if you're going to gearbox something, you're going to sign a contract with Sega and have somebody else work on an Aliens game that you were supposed to work on and put that money into
The,
Borderlands?
okay, so the practice is that you take somebody's money and then you give the project to someone else while you still holding on to that money.
Well, no, I'm just saying that this feels like a contract that they took on
Yes.
because, they did make this game. They didn't contract it out. They made this
Yes.
game, but the money that they're going to make from having the Fast and the Furious license, that money that they make from that is going to fund their next project, which is Project Cars 3 is what I'm assuming it's going to be. So
Yes.
I see that with this, but what was the other game we were talking about? Oh, the G.I. Joe game.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah.
It looks really fun. It's like it kind of looks like they're trying to aim for that Fortnite crowd. Like that's what the art style looks like, which I don't think Fortnite looks bad, but I do feel like there's a lot of copycats out there. But the G.I. Joe game looks really cool. It's a third-person shooter. It kind of actually reminds me of a better version of Agents of Mayhem, where it's kind of like a hero shooter, but it's co-op, and you get to pick between all these G.I. Joe characters, and there's competitive multiplayer game. It looks really neat.
I'm about to check it out.
You should watch the trailer. It looks fun, and it's really campy too. Like it really looks like what Platinum did with that Transformers game that they made, where it's really harkening back to those original games, right? And so or that original series, and really trying to make a fun game out of it. Looks like a game that's probably going to be about $30 or $40 instead of a full 60, but it looks really cool. I kind of want to play it, honestly.
Nice.
So. But yeah, Sam Fisher, I hope a Splinter Cell game comes out so I can stop hearing fans whine about it. I still feel like Splinter Cell is maybe a slightly more popular Mirror's Edge situation, where if we get one, I feel like maybe slightly more people will buy it than Mirror's Edge sequel, but not really. Sorry. Or they can make it an open world game and just finish it.
Yeah.
The last thing we're going to kind of talk about, Ed, that we kind of talked about it earlier. Cyberpunk, there's a lot of cause for concern that there's going to be another delay for Cyberpunk because somehow 8.5 years into development, they are unsatisfied with the melee combat. And they are reworking the melee combat because they do not care for the melee combat in the game.
Yeah, that game is getting delayed.
I feel like you should really nail down the melee combat before you even build the game. Like, I know a lot of people work at CD Projekt Red, and there's a lot of different, parts moving. And yes, there's a world designer, there's a quest design team, there's combat design team. I feel like melee combat might be like one of the first things you work on in a combat scenario. You know what I mean? Like, melee combat's just, it's melee combat, right? You just press like the right bumper or B or whatever, and you melee someone. Are they putting swords in this game and stuff? Like, am I missing something?
I don't know. I really can't. I'll just say delay the game, fix what you need to fix, and then roll it out. At this point in time, I don't care what CD Projekt Red do.
Yeah. There's going to be swords, there's melee weapons and stuff, so I guess they want to kind of get that part down. I guess I was just thinking, like, when you melee somebody with the butt of a gun in games, it just kind of like, oh, well, that looks like a melee move, so I guess, Or if you're a warlock in Destiny, you just snipe people with your melee move and, whatever.
And it's probably going to be like stealth missions that they're doing.
Yeah.
Because everything they've mostly been shown has been gunplay. So, assuming gunplay, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't trust those shredders yet. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Just delay the game in.
I wonder, plus like some of the mods allow you to have melee style augments to your arms, like the very first trailer they put out with that girl kind of kneeling in the street and her arms kind of turn into those big kind of knife things. I wonder if they're going for something like that. Did they not play The Darkness on Xbox 360?
Ooh.
With that melee combat with the 4 arms?
Yes.
What a game. Where's that game at? Is that game backwards compatible yet?
I think it is.
I don't know what made me think of The Darkness, but Whoops.
Yeah.
All right, Ed, we've got about 20 minutes left in our show here. I kind of want to answer some questions that we've been holding on to.
Yes, let's do it,
And
boss.
I know a lot of this is stuff we've talked about previously, but I do want to address some of this stuff because I feel like maybe we feel different about some of these topics. So our first question comes from Derek Guillen. Guillen. I hope it's Guillen because it's spelled like Antonio Guillen, friend of the show, at
Ah,
Hypecaster. You should go follow him. He's fun. He's a new dad, not a new dad, 3-month-old dad, 4-month-old dad,
yay.
mega dad. I would say you could also say so.
Ooh.
You could hit him up and tell him hello. He says, "Hey Ed and the Game Genies." That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a really good one. There's a lot of heat heading for the Avengers in more ways than one. Spider-Man, the game's direction, loot, among other things, really don't spell a great ending for Cap and the gang. What are your thoughts, and what would you want from the Avengers?
Okay, so we kind of touched down on the Spider-Man thing, and it doesn't add anything to the game. You just playing another character with different movesets. So what is that adding? Pretty much nothing.
I
If
mean,
you could barely figure out the combo. Oh,
oh, go ahead, keep going.
oh,
Sorry.
if you could barely maintain any kind of gameplay in a Devil May Cry game or Bayonetta or something, you're just basically beating stuff up, really. So it's nothing. It's not doing nothing. If you haven't played Ultimate Alliance 3 on Switch, go play that. I think that has Spider-Man in it. I think that's a playable character, or he was in a trailer.
What,
Um,
Ultimate Alliance? Is that what you
yeah,
said? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of spider people in that game.
right. So it doesn't add nothing to it. I think what I think the thing about it is that people are clowning it for its graphics and stuff like that. It
I think the character models look great in that game. I'm
mhm,
not like big on this game. I still don't know if I really want to play it or not, but I think like when you look at there I was watching some of the beta, somebody was streaming the beta the other day, and I think it might have been Game Informer. They were playing the beta, and like I was watching, I'm like, man, the Hulk in this game looks better than he did in the movie. Like the not the Edward Norton movie, I would say. Yeah, now in the Avengers movies, he looks fantastic. But I'm saying like he looks really good, and just the way the characters look, I think the characters look fine. Yes, I would have loved it if they went the extra route and was like, can we at least use the character models from the movies? Because I feel like that's what everybody associates as the Avengers now, right?
yeah,
There's multiple versions of the Avengers. There's multiple Avengers that don't even involve any of these characters, right? But I feel like with the characters that they chose, except for Kamala Khan, which she looks really cool too. Like I really like the look they chose for her too. But like I just feel like everybody associates what the Avengers look like with the actors in the movies, and maybe they could have picked one or two different characters that haven't had a movie yet, or
mhm.
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like the whole issue. But again, nobody had an issue when they didn't choose Tom Holland for Spider-Man on PlayStation. So I don't know. I just feel like this whole thing is again
over. I feel like it's
overblown.
overblown.
And the
Yeah.
Spider-Man DLC, okay, it's a business, right? Like Sony wants you to buy the game on their platform because if you buy it on their platform, they're getting the money from the microtransactions from the game as a whole, right?
Mhm.
And how do you entice people to buy the game on your platform? You pay for exclusives, right? And yes, that to me like that's kind of a weird move for consumers, right? Because what if you only have an Xbox and you like Spider-Man, which at this point I feel like if a Spider-Man fan played a lot of games, they would probably have a PlayStation 4, but that's just me. That's just my thought process.
You would have all the Activision Spider-Mans to play, go back through and enjoy if you was a Spider-Man fan on Xbox.
But like I don't know. This whole Avengers thing doesn't really bother me. The
Mm.
whole thing is like I wish it would have just been like an action adventure game that you could play with your friends. I don't think it needs to be a Destiny like cuz
No, I would prefer to be a stylistic action game where, in a form of kind of like Bleeding Edge in a sense, where hopefully there's a light in hard button and stuff, and you purchase to unlock moves and
but
stuff.
when I
Because
was watching it, that's what it looks like. It totally looks like that. It looks
but
like
it look
it
it
looks
look
like an action adventure game where like it looks like Thor looks like he totally
mm,
plays like Kratos from God of War, right? Like Hulk looks like he plays in Ultimate Destruction. These characters look like and play like they probably should from other games. Like Iron Man kind of looks a little bit like Anthem, although I think the flying in Anthem looked way better and the attacking
mm,
in Anthem looked way better. But like Iron Man totally looks like you could totally rip off the Anthem stuff and play as Iron Man, right? Like all the characters look like they play like a certain character from another game, and Cap looks like a brawler, right? Like you can get up close and throw your shield, and it's totally a heavy light attack situation in these games. Like it totally is. And there's quick time dodge mechanics there. You know what I
mm.
mean? Like it's totally all there. But that translating into a Destiny like where okay, it's a persistent world. They're going to keep adding stuff. They're going to keep adding characters.
I kind of just feel like the gameplay is not. I think the gameplay is going to get super repetitive, like Destiny.
I mean,
No,
it
not
is. That's what it is. That's what they're billing it as. Like there's
and I think that's what I don't want. I don't want it to be repetitive. I want something like like trick us into doing a 2D stage that looks like 8-bit, or give us like some kind of bonus level where we're transversing and we hit enemies, and like treat it, sometimes add some arcade retro style elements into it,
well, they
like
are the
mix up
harm
the.
rooms. The harm rooms are what the arcade action style game. What you're talking about, they have that in there.
But is it in the actual campaign that you're going to be doing?
I don't know if it's part of the campaign or not, but there's a lot of things happening in the campaign beta missions. Like I watched the whole thing.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different things going on in this game, and it's just kind of like it almost feels like they're trying to put everything into this game, and it's just
Yeah.
like how are they going to balance that? How is this game going to and look, the game could be awesome when it comes out. I'm not trying to say that at all, but it just feels strange that they're trying to accomplish all these different things with it that maybe they don't need. Like I feel like a multiplayer Tomb Raider esque style game would have been just serviceable for this game.
Hmm.
And I don't know. Maybe you sell cosmetics.
Because
Maybe you just keep adding kind of expansions to it to keep going. I don't know.
like because I'm like, once you do everything and you've seen everything, and are you just there just to grind and like and wait for the next content to come up? I don't know. It's just it feels like it's been done before, and I think people are going to literally lose interest in it. I think.
I mean, the only thing I feel like people are gonna keep coming back to this game, from what I've seen, is just like the Avengers name is attached to it, and people want to play as their
Yeah.
favorite heroes. But like, even Marvel Ultimate Alliance couldn't keep my attention. Now, I'm not the biggest Marvel fan to begin with. Let's be honest, and I feel like the new Batman game and the Suicide Squad game that are coming out seem way more appealing to me than
Uh-huh.
than this because they are single. Well, I'm assuming Suicide Squad will be a multiplayer game, but to my point, like there's a definitive end to the game, and you can play the whole game by yourself. Is what I'm saying. Like it's a single player game with multiplayer elements, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. And obviously, the next Batman game, I I think actually might be the same thing because they're talking about Gotham Knights thing where Nightwing and
Hmm.
Robin and Batgirl are all in it. But I feel like the Avengers is maybe going the wrong way about it. I don't know. It feels like it's not done.
Yeah, because I would love for Iron Man to be like in a sin and punishment space harrier kind of style for a mission. And what if everybody is playing online and they force you to break out into different gameplay genres,
Mm-hmm.
and is you have to make it through, do it, and not be like, oh, if this person dies, the whole team lose. You don't have to do nothing like that. But while online playing together, after y'all battle each other, something happens, and now all of y'all are stuck and playing one gameplay till you get to the point where you all need to meet back up. But everybody has to fight their way to get there.
Yeah.
Like I hope the gameplay changes, because if it's just the same thing over and over, I'm not getting the game. So it has no interest in me, and it's no disrespect to Square Enix and the people who love the adventure games. It's just that sometimes some looter shooter games or looting kind of games like this, it gets so repetitive that once I see and did everything, once I finish it, I put it back in the box and I go away.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, there's probably way better people to ask this question too. I I don't know.
I mean, that's just my thoughts. I
Yeah.
think that's just our thoughts.
Yeah. No, for sure. But uh I don't know. I might, if it's gets better later down the road, I might pick it up if it's on sale or something, but
Yeah, same here.
I mean, cuz like I would really like to play this with you guys, and you, me, and Jesse maybe pick our own like a hero to kind of stick with and go through, right? But
What do I feel like I'm gonna finish the game first, then you and Jesse.
yeah, that's also fair. So, all right, we're going to move on to our last question. This comes from Marshall Yoho. He says, "Yo, bosses, first time, long time. Thank you. We're more than halfway through the year and was wondering what your game of the year was so far and what you expect from the fall gaming season. Love the shows. Deuces." So, Marshall, thank you for writing in. Favorite game of the year so far.
Well, we kind of talked at the beginning of the show.
We did a little
Um,
bit, but we never really said definitively. Um,
so right now, there's two games. Well, my game that's leading, and then an honorable mention. So my game of the year right now is Paper Mario: The Origami King, and my honorable mention is Murder by Numbers. And the reason being, these two games provide so much. The gameplay is great, but the writing and the comedy is so high that all I could do is I keep posting, like, from my Switch, screenshots of, oh, this is funny, oh, this is funny. I'm quoting it, and because it made me do so much of that, it's just like I've never been very social with with games like I am now, because and it's so good. And if you have not played Murder by Numbers, I advise people to give that a chance, because it's so good. The Picross stuff, you'll be able to figure out that, but the writing and the mystery of that game, it's just like, oh, this is literally one of my Game of the Year nominations. And then Paper Mario Origami King, I was just the intro, seeing just the world, I was just like, I need this in Mario Kart 9.
mhm.
And I just kept doing it over and over. And I feel like right now, still Paper Mario is my game of the year, with Murder by Numbers following it. We expect to go to Tsushima, but as I keep playing on, I can, like, okay, it's losing this kind of appeal to it, but it's still a great game.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't played many games that have come out this year. I would have liked to, but it's just been super busy and doing other things, and there's a lot that I would like to get back to. But for me, I think my game of the year so far, from what I've played of it, and I've put about 15 hours into it, but I'm waiting for the Xbox version now, is Gears Tactics, honestly. It's one of the strongest kind of tactical strategy games that I've played. It's very XCOM-esque, and does a lot of things to you don't have to be as patient as you are in XCOM. It really rewards being aggressive as long as you're smart about it, which I really like. And it's Gears, right? It feels like Gears, right? It feels like turn-based Gears is what it feels like, and that's exactly what I wanted from it, and that's what it gave me. But the other game that is really high up there for me right now is Crosscode. Crosscode is a very fun action RPG, top-down, kind of pixelated Zelda style game that it's just really fun. I highly recommend it. And there's a few games that are coming out later this year that I want to play, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be one. There's just a lot coming this year still, but those are probably my two favorite games this year, and the games I've spent the most time with, definitely. So yeah, those are kind of my games of the year. Also, like, shout out to Minecraft Dungeons. I feel like that game is way better than people kind of thought it was going to be. I played a little bit of it. It was fun. I don't really care for those types of games, but it's definitely a great one of those games. So,
If for Xbox, I give it to Ori and the Will of the Wisp. For PlayStation, and everybody's about to be super surprised, but thinking about it now, I will give it to The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised by that for you, just because of how much we talked about the first one and how much we really didn't. It didn't really hit for us the way it hit other people. But yeah, you should read Ed's review on our website of The Last of Us Part 2. It's I don't know. I still don't know if I want to play it or not. I do. There are two games on PlayStation that I want to play, although I'm trying to wait for the Xbox version of one of them. Ghost of Tsushima, I really want to play. Really, really, really want to play Ghosts. And Final Fantasy VII Remake, I really want to play.
Same here.
I'm trying really hard to wait for the Xbox version, but it's on sale, and I really just might bite the bullet on it, honestly, and just play it because I really want to. I think as much as I don't care for Final Fantasy VII, the original game,
yeah,
like everything I've seen about this game is something that I really want, and it has the Final Fantasy 15 battle system, a little bit upgraded and whatnot, but I might. So, yeah. Anyways. But yeah, Gears Tactics and Crosscode for sure this year so far for me. Also, I still want to play Paper Mario, but that might have to wait for a little bit. So, yeah, but that's about all we have, Ed. Is there anything else you kind of want to hit on before we get out of here? I know you kind of have to go to work soon, but...
congratulations to Nintendo. Switch has passed, outsold the NES. So
yeah, so there's only one more home console and three handhelds it has to outsell now.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I mean, Nintendo's kind of killing it, honestly, with the Switch. It's killer. It's a killer system. I mean, that's all I can really say. It's a killer system, and people should play their Switches.
And I guess Microsoft got their summer sale going on. So if you guys have I'm assuming Windows 10 and Xbox One, check those out. I haven't got to check out the sales, but I want to.
There's a lot of good sales on there. I mean, Doom Eternal's $30. Borderlands 3 is $30 if you want to support Gearbox. I don't, but it's on me. What was the other? What was the game that I got? That was like, Vanquish is $14, which I really want to play. I got it because I've never played Vanquish, and I've heard so many great things about it, and Ed won't shut up about it. So it's a platinum game, so that's probably why. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great games on sale. There's a lot of games I would buy if I had the money, but I'm trying to save for certain things. So
yes.
Yeah. Do we want to touch the Apple Fortnite thing at all or not?
Nah.
I think
no.
I don't think either of us are really that much into Fortnite. Although I think it is a big deal, and I think it is actually going to end up not only getting Fortnite back on the App Store, but I think it's going to get Stadia and xCloud on the App Store too, this fight. So
we shall see.
Yeah. So perfect timing. My kid just woke up. So I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. Remember, you can find the Boss Rush podcast on Mondays on your podcast service of choice. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch us live on Saturdays on Twitch. And yeah, I feel like the flow of this episode went really well, changing it up a little bit. Ed, there's a couple things before you go. I do want to say some things to you before we go. But anyways, I had fun today.
Yes.
I did. So, Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode and check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps.
Yeah. You can find me at IamCoreyHG on Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to start posting some things more. I feel like my social media presence has dipped quite a bit in the last couple weeks, but it's life happens. So, yeah, there's going to be some more Twitch streams. There are going to be some more shows and things like that. So, I do kind of want to say that Ed is now in charge of our console content production. So we've had that discussion, and that's a big deal. I think Ed and I have been podcasting for a long time, and I trust Ed with everything that we do, even though I disagree with him on maybe 56% of the things we talk about.
Wait.
I'm just messing with you, Ed. It's more like 75%.
Wait, what?
No, wow. Ed, I just, I wouldn't be doing this without you, and kind of the main reason I'm still doing it. And it's been a fun 5, 6, 7 years, and I hope that we can do it for 5, 6, 7 more. And yeah. So, anyways, I want to thank everybody so much for watching. You can catch all of our content on bossrushgames.com. Download our family shows. We'd really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody so much for watching, and until next time, play games, be better. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.